going on, guys? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Mohammed, you're early. What's going on, Mohammed? Good to see you. I'm going to let the Telegram group know that I'm live. That's what I'm going to do, Mohammed. Mohammed, since you're here in the chat, why don't you, you can ask the first question if you want. Let's see, YouTube, live on YouTube. Live on YouTube. What's going on, HUD? Cigar, what's going on, dude? Live on YouTube. Vinay, what's going on? Ikwaja, good to see you. What's going on? SS Sjögren syndrome has joined the chat. SS. Right? Sjögren syndrome. What are you guys up to? What are you guys up to? I'm just letting people know that I just started this chat. That's what I'm doing right now. Right? Guys, you can give the video a like and throw your question in there as well. But first give the video a like so it kicks the algorithm up, and then you can throw a question in there. I'm just letting people know that I just went live. Let's see, live on YouTube. There we go. All right, guys. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. Frank Milan, thank you so much for your help. What's going on, Frank? What's going on, Frank? What are you up to, Frank? What are you doing? You do good study today? Sarah, good to see you. Abdularam, right? What's going on, Sarah? What are you up to? What are you up to, Sarah? Ayad, good to see you again. You're not first, Ayad. You're like, I don't know, 12th or something. You know what I'm not going to do, though? I'm not going to enumerate. I'm not going to count. Let's see. Be on Kalela. How can I pass step one? Well, it's a very generic question. Doesn't everyone want to pass step one, right? I've said the tetrad a million times. Ask more specific questions. I'll target your questions, but obviously I've said just for basics, you got to do my tetrad, right? Tetrad being number one, QBank, Amboss, or you rolled all of it. Number two, you're going to do PDFs. Number three, my YouTube MCQs. Number four, the NBME exams when you get there. Hi, Mike, says Brown. What's going on, Brown? Sarah, we appreciate you. Nishad, what's going on, Nishad? What are you up to? Should I kick off the cuckery? The cuckery was already kicked off before you with that how can I pass step one question. I mean, you say it's hyper generic. How's that cuckery, right? But it just means like, it means someone new in the community. That's what it means. I mean, I get followers every day, right? I lose followers every day too, but I'm gaining more than I lose. Ahmed Al-Asi, hello, Dr. Mike. What's going on, Ahmed? P-T-E-J, P-Tej. Hey, Mike, how have you been? What's going on, P? Mustafa Muhammad, hi, what's going on, dude? What are you up to, Mustafa? What are you up to? I have like 15 Mustafas that I interact with. HUD. How many rounds for PDFs do you recommend? 1 to 3. It's like saying going through FA back in the day. People used to like read FA 3 times or something. It's like you still wouldn't remember everything. So you can go through all my PDFs. You're not going to remember everything. You can try, right? You can try. Sahani Baga, what's going on, Sahani? What are you up to? What are you up to, Suhani? Youssef. Hello, man. How you doing? What's up, Youssef? I just had a matcha before I started this. I posted it to the IG story. Do you know, I've received 5 DMs being like, what's that? Is that hard to discern, to figure out that that's matcha? People are like, what is that? Austin. Past step 1, thanks, Doc. It's good, Austin. Good news. Gayla. What's going on, Gayla? Good to see you back. Guys, give the video a like. Coming in a live stream. Give the video a like. Nakia, good to see you. What's up, Nakia? What are you up to? How's Nola? Did you have anything Cajun, or did you have any seafood uh, past few days? I've said before, if I lived in the US, like I wouldn't be ripped because I'd just be eating fucking like um, high quantities of fucking amazing food all the time. I mean, here in Japan, you can get amazing food, but it's like, it's healthier. It's like, you know, HUD. Back in the days, how did you study for step one? I mean, that's a long fucking discussion, dude. Right? I could do 15 minutes on every like talking point, right? But let's just say I was inefficient when I studied, and that in turn has become a silver lining today. Now that I do what I do in terms of prepping people, right? Because I've learned what doesn't work as much as I've learned what works. And when I come off dismissive or sarcastic or snide in my responses to people who ask like nitpicky questions, it's because I used to be that way myself. And a lot of it was a waste of fucking time. I used to be that way. I used to be like that, that person who thought like this fucking subunit of this little thing. Like, I mean, granted, we had numerical step one, but I was like nerdy about it. And, but now it's like, especially with pass fail step one, waste of fucking time. But I did like way too many resources. I didn't have guidance. I did way too many resources, like way too many books that had no relation to USMLE whatsoever. Waste of fucking time. But okay, I gained potential energy. And as I just said, I know how not to prepare and I can keep students on track. And so there are those silver linings. Sagar Patel, should I wait for iPhone 15 Pro or buy 14 series? Wait for 15. I'm waiting for 15. Why wouldn't you wait for 15? It's only if it's a crisis. Like if you have a cracked screen or something, and rather just repairing the screen, you want to get like a new phone, or you just have a shitload of cash, you don't give a fuck. I would just wait for the 15. Because I think the 13 and 14 were like mediocre upgrades. They were like, this is like new plastic on the, because I have the 12 and like these three like camera buttons are like separate, distinct circles. And I think they said something like the 13, it's like just one piece of plastic covering. I'm like, really, guys? That's the best you fucking have, right? The 12's been good, but like, I'll go to the 15. HUD. How did you memorize FA? Well, the FA era is over, right? HUD. HUD, you've been in my live streams, right? You've been in my live streams, but sometimes people ask fucking questions and they leave, right? So, and then you don't hear my answers. But how did I memorize FA back in the day? I just fucking read. That's what I did. I mean, I don't really know what to say. Like some people don't like that answer. Like I read and I retained decently. I don't have a perfect memory, but I retained decently. At the time, I read it 3 times back in the day. But as I've already inculcated, now that we have a pass fail step one, the superfluousness doesn't make it an ideal resource. It's something against FA. People get like very emotional. Okay, people are like, Mike, why do you hate FA? I don't hate FA. I don't hate FA. Okay, relax. It's just we have a pass fail step one, and my PDFs cut to the fucking chase. I mean, isn't that like right? Frank Milan studying still finished my 80 questions, like you said. Mustafa Muhammad was the best time to start NBME after finishing the first pass or during the first read. I said after you finish QBank, guys, that's when you're going to do your first pass the NBME exams. Don't do NBMEs while you're in QBank. Almost always, like basically never will I have a student sit in NBME while they're in the midst of QBank. These things are sequential. So you're going to finish QBank first, then you're going to do the NBMEs. Michael Betamarian, good to see you, dude. Hey, Dr. Mike, just killed your cardio PDF. It's indescribable! Exclamation point. You got a masterpiece material. No fucking shit. I made it. So it's going to be world class. Right? I mean, like, okay, like, why don't I be maximally hubristic? And I mean, I don't really know what to tell you because it's I agree with that assessment that it's ace. I believe that, yes. Zaydoa, Mike Bro, I had step one. If you haven't done my cardio PDF, that's a problem. You're cutting yourself short. You're gonna do the cardio PDF. If you like are aware peripherally, like you're supposed to go through my PDFs, but you're like, okay, maybe you pick up the PDF, you're gonna start reading it, and you're gonna be like, LOL, uh, like shit. This is I should have looked at this. That's what's gonna happen. Zaydoa, Mike Bro, I had step one exam today. It feels like I will fail. My practice NBME and free 120s are in the mid 70s. You did fine, dude. Okay. You flagged 10 to 12 per block. What do you think my probability? Dude, it's like, it's laughable. It's a troll because you know how many people are in this live stream right now who would like love to have 70s for their NBMEs and free 120s? Laughable. But the value point, guys, is that you can be performing very well objectively and that like you're definitely going to pass, but then feel like your scores aren't like you'll feel like your performance wasn't where it should have been. But how you feel coming out of the exam is uncoupled from your ultimate performance. This is like a ubiquitously like it's a very common occurrence. Okay. But you probably scored around the average of where your NBMEs were in the final days. SL, guys, if you're coming to live stream, please give it a like. SL, hi Doc, hope you're doing well. Ahmed Elaman, what's going on, SL? Ahmed Elaman, hey Mike, doing your endocrine PDF right now. Did the high yield arrows first and made it easy for me. Yep, good. Sarah, how do we overcome extreme burnout, demotivation? I've said the gym is ideal. Okay, you need to keep yourself physically active. That helps. You're allowed to take time to do things. Okay, just try to keep your study 8 hours per day, and then afterwards, do others. As I said, gym. Like socialize how you want, friends, family, partner, whatever the fuck you want to do. Okay, but just like you can take the time. It doesn't have to be 14 hours a day that you're studying. But gym, okay? Many of you don't go to the gym. That's a problem. One, for your health, but also for your psychological well-being. It'll be a massive increase in your psychological health. Okay, so that's a good thing. Demotivation, though, I mean, that's a complicated one because you might be motivated, but I think it's just the material can feel monotonous and boring at times, right? That's how I was prepping for 2CK. Like I've always been very motivated and driven, but I was so bored going through 2CK World as an example, that it could have been misconstrued superficially as demotivation. The fact that I didn't want to, be spending the time. But what I did, a tactic, okay, and this can be practical value for some of you guys. A tactic, if you're like getting ADHD, procrastinating, trying to go through QBank, and you feel like you can't deal with it, a tactic is to physically mandate that you're present in the library or a cafe for at least 8 hours per day. So I made it where I wasn't allowed to leave the library unless I was there for 8 hours daily. I was like, I have to be physically inside this compound for 8 hours per day. And so like I would do like blocks or whatever. I'd be literally walking around like the library inside, like stare at the vending machine or something. And then like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back and do another block. But like I wouldn't allow myself to leave the library compound. That's how I got through 2CK UWorld. And interesting, funnily enough, like it was going through 2CK UWorld, which was like, I think part of the process of me realizing I didn't want to practice medicine because it was so fucking boring doing all that material. I was like, wow, this shit like really sucks. I like step one material though. Hamid Mohamedis Tabji Brown, 68% UWorld done, exam on 31st of August. How do I proceed with your YouTube videos and PDFs? I've said you're going to do the questions in the morning. Guys, when you're doing QBank, what you're going to do is you're going to have a morning phase where you get questions done, and then you're going to have your lunch or whatever. And then you have phase 2 of the day where you can either titrate up to 80 questions. So the morning phase is 4 blocks of 10, untimed tutor random. And then the second half of the day, phase 2, is you have the option to titrate up to 80 questions if you want to just knock out more questions, or You can work on my PDFs slash YouTube MCQs or a combination of the two. Okay. Maybe you say, oh, I could do 50 questions or 60. Now I don't want to deal with more questions. Now that I did 60. Now I'm going to do PDFs and YouTube MCQs the rest of the day. Fine. But my point, Brown, is that you're going to be knocking out the YouTube MCQs and the PDFs simultaneous to while you're going through QBank. It's just this phase 2 of the day. It's the afternoon phase of the day. Whereas phase 1, the morning phase, is your questions. And once again, phase 1 is always fixed. That's your 40 questions. That doesn't change. Phase 2 has flexibility, and your ability to be flexible can prevent burnout. Because you say, like, no fucking interest in doing more questions right now. Great, you don't have to. Just do like YouTube MCQs, more passive video stuff, better than QBank, or just read, do my PDFs. Muhammad Hassan, I asked you a lot lately. Just want to thank you for everything you give. Thanks, Muhammad. Let's see. Ayad Ali, what type of hypersensitivity? Oh, here we go. What type of hypersensitivity is sarcoidosis, 3 or 4? Resources are going to say different things. Okay. So where I know what you're getting at, okay, in that the paniculitis, the erythema nodosum, that's thought to be type 3 hypersensitivity, but some sources say type 4. Okay. So the non-caseating granulomas, that's type 4. Because it's clearly T cells interacting with macrophages. I believe there's an NBME question. This is probably what you're referring to. There's an NBME question where they like literally show you a picture of a non-caseating granuloma, and they're like, "What's the hypersensitivity?" And it's type 4. They're showing you the fucking non-caseating granuloma, right? And then students will be like, "Oh, I thought you said it was like type 3." It's more the paniculitis, erythema nodosum. That in isolation can be an immune complex deposition. But sarcoidosis can be type 4 when we talk about the non-caseating granulomatous aspect. I mean, that's good to know. But my more important question to you is, do you know what electrolyte abnormality you have in sarcoidosis? It's hypercalcemia, right? What's normal calcium range numerically? 8.4 to 10.2. Why is calcium high in sarcoidosis? Because non-caseating granuloma is secreting 1-alpha hydroxylase. Okay, what are we gonna do? 40-minute discussion sarcoidosis, but there's important concepts. Iqahaja Newer. First question, I have asked it so many times, but how to retain the QBank and high yield arrows by just reading, and YouTube videos by just listening. Can one pass like this, please? I'm scared. I mean, I would say just read. That's my view on it. I think annotating is overrated. I think, yes, you can just listen to my YouTube MCQs. Okay. You have to become accustomed to remembering, forgetting. That's a normal oscillatory process. That's normal. Okay. So don't be scared, quote unquote, about that. I've said the biggest impediment. Someone asked me this yesterday. They're like, what's like the number one thing, like in your observation with students that people like struggle, that's your students struggle with? And I've said it's the notion that they feel like they're not ready to move on because they don't know things well enough. Okay. Like you can't get through your 40 questions per day because you're like, the 30 that you're able to finish, you feel like you don't know well enough. So you're like annotating too much. You're making Anki, or you're like, you need to sit there reading it 10 times and going on Wikipedia and ChatGPT, trying to like, so it's the notion of not being able to move on. So you have to just, you have to fulfill your quotas. Get through at least 40 per day, never fewer than 40 questions per day. Guys, you're coming to live stream, please give the video a like. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. I know some of you are not subscribed to my channel because I see the analytics of these live streams after. And I say that, and some of you will still not subscribe to my channel. There's no entitlement, but it's like, it's fine. I'm just going to dip into this dude's live stream where he gives me free USMLE advice, but I'm not going to subscribe to his channel. It's fine. Don't subscribe to my channel. There's no entitlement, as I said. It's not a problem. You do what you're going to do. It's called autonomy, right? You do what you want to do. Some people are weird. Some people are like, no, I'm not going to follow, right? Some people have the audacity to DM me on Instagram where they're not following me, and they'll like ask me USMLE questions. I just delete the chats. That's like pretty much what I do. It's like, if you're not following me, you're going to DM me, I just delete your chat without even like, I don't accept it or anything. So it just looks like it's not read. you have to have a certain degree of temerity. Let's see. Thoughts on Amboss plus CMS only for step 2, says Austin. Bad idea. For step 2, it's a tetrad as well. You're going to do QBank. You can do all of Amboss, 3,700 questions, or all of UWorld, 4,100 questions. It's going to take you 2 months. And then you're going to do CMS pass, clinical master series forms, all 45, 50 forms, 2 per day. It's going to take you 3 to 3.5 weeks. And then you're going to do NBME 6 through 8. You're going to do a double pass of all the CMS forms. Holy shit. Free 120, 9 through 14. So you need about 4 months for all that content. It's not sufficient to not do a double pass the CMS forms. You have to do a double pass, and you have to do 6 through 14. Okay, and you're going to do my PDFs, you're going to do my YouTube MCQs. Guys, your 2CK score is like 90 to 95 plus % of your competitiveness. That's where we're at. 90 plus %. Class rank, maybe 7.5%. That's like it. Your interviews are just 2CK score, class rank. That's it. Okay, then when you get the interview, then they can start to consider you as a person. They say, okay, now what other characteristics do they bring to the table? Right? That's what it is. So for you to shortchange yourself on 2CK in any capacity is not a good move. Katarina Garcia, the PDFs before after the QBanks, concurrent, as I already answered in this live stream, which some of you are coming in now and you say, well, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're referring to. Well, I'll just repeat the same dumb shit. Okay, so not just within this live stream, but daily, just repeat the same shit. You can do 40 questions in the morning, phase 1, lunch, and then phase 2 of the day is going to be PDFs, YouTube MCQs, or you can titrate up to 80 questions. You can do a combination of the two. Concurrent is the answer. Div, you're late. That's right. Ali Harby, hi doc. Mike, in case of meningitis, when do we choose lumbar puncture or antibiotics? The guidelines shifted over time, but apparently it's lumbar puncture before antibiotics. But the empiric is going to be vancomycin plus ceftriaxone for meningitis. Right? So there's a lot we can talk about. But meningitis, you also need to know that if a patient has any sign of an intracranial mass lesion, increased intracranial pressure, you got to do a CT of the head before lumbar puncture. Vomiting, focal neurologic signs, confusion that interferes with the neurologic exam, seizure, papilledema, optic fundi can't be visualized. So then you would do a CT of the head if they say CT, and that's on one of the 2CK forms. People choose LP, it's wrong, answer CT, because there was like a seizure or something, or focal, or no, they say the optic fundi can't be visualized. And then people choose LP, it's wrong, it's CT. You got to rule out a mass lesion, because if there happens to be a mass lesion, like a tumor, and you perform an LP, you can cause a herniation, an uncal herniation, or a tonsillar herniation. You could kill the patient. But obviously meningitis, there's a lot that's high yield. For fungal and bacterial, they're going to be the same in that you have decreased glucose, high protein for both, but bacterial, high PMNs, high neutrophils, whereas fungal is high lymphocytes. And then viral is going to be no change glucose, no change protein, or very slight increase in protein, increased lymphocytes. Increased opening pressure, nonspecific, can sometimes be seen with fungal. TB can sometimes give you super fucking elevated protein, like crazy fucking high. Herpes is going to be encephalitis, not meningitis. Herpes can give you blood in the CSF. That's really important. Okay. And meningitis is confusion. That's meningitis, confusion. Meningitis is going to be stiff neck photophobia. And you need to know that subarachnoid hemorrhage can cause a stiff neck, not just meningitis. They like that, especially on like 2CK neuroforms. I've seen enough students get like tricked by that. They'll give you like worst headache of one's life, and there's no fever or anything. They're like worst headache of one's life. And it's like stiff neck. And then they're like, I thought it was meningitis. So you have to know that just inflammation of meninges in general. Thanks, Jacob. Jacob says the earring is dope. I just ordered maybe an hour and a half ago. I ordered Blink 182 guitar pick earrings. I've started ordering shit that like actually means something to me. You know, things that actually I like for me. But I grew up with Blink 182 in high school. That's like fucking blared Blink 182 driving to school in the morning. Um, so I got I got some Blink 182 earrings. I think I got a T-shirt as well. I got a Blink 182 T-shirt, but that was like days ago. I'm waiting on that stuff in the mail right now. I just bought a Monster hat, like a Monster energy drink. I just bought a Monster hat, but that's not wannabe fucking shit. It's because I fucking skateboard. I've been skateboarding fucking. I mean, like X Games. I watch like X Games, but like I've been skateboarding fucking 12 and a half years, and in Australia where I was living, I was in the water ski club. I was in like a lake. I went to a lake. I was at it was like the wakeboarding club. My housemate, he did a lot of wakeboarding, Australian dude. I did water skiing and also wake skating, um, where your feet aren't attached. It's like a skateboard. I like wake skating better than water skiing. I don't like having my feet like locked in where I can't like. I hate that. Like snowboarding, I don't like having my feet locked in. It's weird to me. So I can move my feet constantly on a skateboard. I can move my feet on a wake skate. But like Monster, it was like I don't know. It was just the era. It was like we wore Monster shit. The Monster Energy drink, we wore that stuff. I don't really know what to say. Jaden. That's an Aussie name, actually. Let's see, Jaden. Hey, Mike, you mentioned to do 40 UWorld questions, tutor mode first half, and do your PDF second half every day. Thank you. Yep, that's true. Mo, Jal, good to see you back. If I study out of the US and have green card, that'll make me a US IMG. I'm not American. Is that a question, bro? SL, how is life in Japan? It's such a beautiful place to live. You are lucky. It's good. There's no guns here. Let's see. You guys are here for my medical talk, though. Adam Gaby, hi, Mike. What's your opinion on which countries are best to raise a family, particularly extended family? Not the United States, in my view. As I said, I don't like guns. Some people think that's stupid. Some people are like, Mike, really? That's why you wouldn't want to live in the US? Like, why is that weird? Like, why would I want to be around like people who like close carry and like, or even in some states open carry? Like, why would I want to be around that? The great thing about Japan is I can literally go out and like, there's no crime like that. Like you can be in some dark neighborhood somewhere and it's like, well, what could be the fear? What could be, what could you be scared of? Like some old little 85-year-old Japanese man who had some drinks and he's maybe like, shouting or something like at the most, like what are we afraid of? Like there's no guns. Atlantic, how should we study for shelf exams and step at the same time? I've said that. Okay, so when you're doing shelf exams, you are necessarily going to have to study for 2CK subject specific, yes. So you're going to have to do your UWorld or AMBOSS, let's say PEDS, UWorld or AMBOSS, 4 PEDS on that rotation. You're going to have to do my PDF for PEDS. You're going to do my YouTube playlist for PEDS. You're going to do the CMS forms for PEDS twice. Okay, so there's 8 forms. You do 16 therefore. That's what you're going to do. Ume Abbas, hey Mike, what's the best way to retain pharma? I mean, it differs, right? Some people like, I have farm modules that are free on my website. There's like 50 of them. You can go through those. I've got a farm playlist on the YouTube that's fucking massive. My farm playlist is fucking massive on my YouTube. Those are free, right? 99.9% of what I put out is free. You can do those. I've paid Farmanki on my website, sure, but I'm not preaching my shit. Farm modules are free. You can do my Anki my YouTube playlist. And then of course there's people who like they can't retain text. They need you know, flying animals, glitter, cascading waves, furry things. They prefer sketchy, right? So that can be an option for people who can't retain text. They need something visual. I personally couldn't learn through a resource like that. I don't think like that. I've said if I look at like I looked at like a free sample of sketchy and like I felt like I was in a kindergarten acid trip and on salvia. Like I didn't like I was like, how does anyone process this stuff? But there's some people who like that. That's okay. Nokia. Hey you, yes, three exclamation marks. We celebrated the 4th with jambalaya, shrimp, Creole, and barbecue. Fucking amazing. Weird combo, right? LOL. It was good though. I will pay for it in the gym too. Sounds good. Sounds really good. It's good for summer, you know. It sounds good for summer. I'm on like more of a calorie intake right now. Said I'm trying to bulk, so that'd be fine. But in the fall, I'll start running more. I'll start running again. Div, did you sign up for Threads app? Almost, almost. I was going to actually. I was gonna sign up. I was gonna download it, but I was busy. I had 3 students I was teaching before I did this live stream, and I was just distracted. Guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Meta, Facebook, okay, Meta just developed. They just put out a new app called Threads, and apparently it's a direct competitor to Twitter. And like Mark Zuckerberg's not like shying away from communicating that. He's like, yes, this directly competes with Twitter. And I think that's a good thing because it pushes he's not fucking Mark Zuckerberg's, let's just say he's not a fucking stupid person. Okay? So he knows that it's like for betterment of it'll push Musk to do good things with Twitter. It's good competition, camaraderie. You know, they talk about their whole like they're gonna get in a fucking cage match or whatever. That's on the news too, right? If that happens, we'll see. But Threads is like a Twitter. It's like an amalgamation of Twitter and Instagram. I don't use Twitter. I don't use Twitter. So like it's something about like people like the profile grid type setup of Instagram, right? Like they like the organization of that. And somehow they've amalgamated it where like there's like going to be an Instagram and you can use your same contacts or followers, something like that. As I said, I haven't downloaded it yet, but it's going to be like a combination of like a Twitter and an Instagram. Um, who knows? I'll download it probably after like our session or something if I can remember. I will. I'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. Equa Nur, also for subjects I'm weekend, do I need to watch lectures other than your YouTube vids and annotate or just watch your YouTube vids? Why don't you just try watching the YouTube vids first? Zayshan Gondel, not even strong at my basics. Still want to clear my step 1. Any suggestions? Go through my PDFs, my YouTube MCQs, go through QBank. Zayshan. LEH, hi Dr. Mike, I would seriously pay like $70 if you had some written explanations for the audio QBank. That's not worth my time, bro. $70 for what? Like 10 minutes of my time? How's that for a completely like ridiculous statement? But I mean, I don't, it's like, no, but all like, in all seriousness, like, the resources are just different. That's why. They're just different. Like if I'm going to spend time sitting in my fucking room, not doing a live stream like this, and I'm just like doing work, right? It's going to be for things like the fucking path PDF that people are fucking incessantly annoying me about, or like, you know, micro PDF or micro Anki or something, or converting other PDFs into charts, like the repro one, make it into chart format, or the heme one, make it into chart format, like I did for cardio, pulm, gastro, renal, right? Peds and obs-gyne. Well, I just said repro / obs-gyne, but peds as well. I got to do that for TCK. Those are going to be things I ultimately will work on. But the audio QBank, I mean, you know, if you want to pay me like $700K to go through all my fucking questions and then write explanations for all of them, that can be possibly arranged. Sarah, Abdul Ram, what is the best study technique to memorize faster? My step one exam is in a month and my anxiety is through the roof. I still didn't finish my UWorld Qs. Am I a hopeless case? Please be brutally honest. I'd want to know your NBMEs, Sarah. I don't really care how you feel. I just want your NBME scores. You know, it's like medicine's like about empathy. It's like how you feel is irrelevant when it comes to, I just want to see your NBME scores. Like, how are you doing the NBMEs? Right? Because you get people who are like, oh, I'm only getting 75% cracked. I'm so sad. But it's like, right? Samir, Samir Nasser, still rocking the fives, lol. What is that referring to? Samir, what is that referring to? I'm still rocking the fives. What does that mean? Am I missing something? SL, Doc, what to do to increase my score from 50% in what? QBank? You're just going to go through my PDFs, my YouTube MCQs concurrent to QBank, as I said. Nakia, is it true that using a highlighter is low IQ? Question mark. I've been doing that my entire life. No wonder, lol. I never highlighted anything on any NBME exam or QBank ever. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. Some people highlight fucking everything. I never highlighted anything. I thought when I was in like undergrad, people like near me in class and stuff would like use their fucking colored pens and highlighters and all that stuff. I was never one of those people. I just had like my blue black pen and like that would be it. Cigar Patel, Musk versus Mark going on trend. Yeah, they both have fucking, I mean, yeah, they're both very, they have strong qualities. Clearly, they're both fucking, I mean, is that really like necessary to say? I mean, how ridiculous of a comment is that? Two of the smartest people in the world who are multi-billionaires who are doing transformational things for the human race. They both have good qualities. How's that for a deep statement, right? Ayad Ali, hey Mike, if I finished all NBME's 20 to 31 exam next week, would you recommend practicing QBank or solve NBME's 1918? I would just continue consolidating around the NBMEs you've already done and redoing those, yes. And also no high yield arrows. Doctor, step one is hard. Cindy, Salinas, I think you're new here. I don't recognize your name. Hello, Dr. Mike, I'm new here. Look at that. You fucking like that shit? I did not read that. I did not read that. I just saw the name. Hello, Dr. Mike, I'm new here, following you. Exclamation mark. I read the neuro PDF and it's amazing. Exclamation mark. Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. How did you come across the channel? Was it like a friend? Was it recommended to you through the algorithm? How did you come across the content? And when you say neuro PDF, do you mean neuro? Like, because I have a regular neuro PDF and I also have a neuroanatomy PDF. The neuroanatomy one tends to be what people look at. Pinnacle Adam, good to see you back. Mike, don't be empathetic, but really, how the hell do I mix my daily UWorld 40 questions with 8 to 5 p.m. of daily residency? Okay, I'm an IMG, not lazy, but just lost a lot of focus because I was in a group and have gone solo now. Well, I mean, it's USMLE prep is a full-time job. So when you're trying to do a full-time job and also prepare for USMLE at the same time, like that's those behaviors are not they don't dovetail. Okay, so you're going to have to get out of residency. You're going to have your dinner. You're going to go to the gym, and then you're going to do 40 questions from like 9 p.m. till midnight. You're going to have to be fast. You say, Mike, but is that doable? Well, you're doing residency 8 to 5 p.m. I don't know what to fucking tell you. It's not recommended, right? Kejda Domi. Hello, Dr. Mike. I have a personal question. Should I choose urology residency in Qatar or stay in general? Just like the question just literally teleported away from me while I was reading it. Sometimes when you guys like type or it just like moves the chat on me. Okay. KHD. Hello, Dr. Mike. I have a personal question. Should I choose urology residency in Qatar or stay in general surgery in my country? Wish you all the best. The answer is what you want to do with your time. Do you want to do urology or do you want to do general surgery? What do you want? Austin, Irvina. My NBMEs were in the 80s. Walked out convinced I failed, but ended up passing. Yes, I'm sure you passed if your NBMEs were in the 80s. Guys, my NBMEs were like, 40 points above the pass mark. Am I okay? Lopo says, Lopo, I think you're new here. I don't recognize that name. I'm getting 75% above on UWorld. That's good. You got a 232 on UWSA's 1 and 2. Good. My exam is in 3 days. What is your advice? Well, you got to do just literally at this point. I would just do an NBME like 31 today or something. Like, I would just do NBME content today. And then 2 days out tomorrow, I'd do like biostats review, some custom review. You could look at high yield arrows. And then the day before your exam, I don't want you to really study. I want you to have a chill day the day before your exam. Guys, for coming to this stream, please give the video a like. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Okay? If you're in here and you're not subscribed to my channel, you're a fucking asshole. Right? Mike, I'm making minor gains. Personal cue, but will you consider an anabolic cycle ever in your 50s or 60s? I don't know. I'm not like, that's a weird question right now. That's like in the top weird questions I've received. 20 to 30 years from now, am I gonna like try to bulk up or something? Like, I don't know what to say to that. I think like I cycle through like bulking and running phases. Like right now I'm bulking where I'm like eating more calories and not running. But then when we get into the fall, I'll run a lot more and I'll maybe lose a little bit of muscle, but I'll get more ripped again. And I'm already ripped, but I mean, it's like I'll get more ripped and then, but I'll run more. So you got to have these phases. They're oscillatory. Equahaja Noor, you missed my question, sad face. Okay, I have asked it so many times, but how to retain the Q bank or high yield arrows by just reading and YouTube vids by just listening? Can one pass them? I've answered your fucking question like repeatedly. You're right, I did. You missed my question, so it means you left the live stream. You're just going to read and you're just going to listen. That's all you're going to do. Dr. Zako, which one of your PDFs are for step 1? All of them. But the ones that are like surgery, pediatrics, you don't have to do. Talha, hey Mike. Rahul. See, someone. Jaden, thanks for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Jaden. Guys, if you have questions that you want me to answer faster, you can do a super chat and then I'll see it. Jaden, you can write a question. If you have a question, Jaden, write it below. I'll scroll back down in a moment and I'll answer a question if you got it. Let me scroll back up. Dr. Zako, which one? No, I read that. You don't have to do like surgery, peds, obviously. You don't have to do this for step 1. Rahul, preparing for step 2 CK currently. After this, how can I go about doing research in psychiatry? Any tips? I mean, research experiences are sort of just hit or miss, right? Like you got to find an advisor. You got to say, I'm interested in doing X, right? That's how it works with research. You have to contact different labs, contact different people and say, can I do this with you? Or that's how it works. Bypass Shah, why don't you upload step 2 YouTube videos? I do all the fucking time, bro. All the fucking time. I upload step 2 videos. But if you're asking why I don't put like in my titles like surgery or like obs-gyn or peds, why don't I do that? If it's like a pediatric gastro question, I'll like write gastro. And then when you go into the clip, I'll say like question for gastro step 1 peds 2CK. And then I might, if it's a very much a 2CK, a strong 2CK question, I'll explicate. If you're studying for step 1, relax. I'll tell you some high yield points. Why do I do that? It's because people are fucking assholes and they don't click into videos. If they're studying for step 1, they're often not going to click into a video if it's a 2CK-ish title and the analytics are terrible. But it's not like my titles are not clickbaity. But if you're studying for step 1, you enter a video and it happens to be a 2CK question. I provide value for step 1 at the same time. So it's not like it's disingenuous, like it's value. So it's a video that you ended up watching that turned out to be valuable for you and a good use of your time. But had I given a step two CK title, you wouldn't have watched it. So it turned out to be a good thing for you that I didn't give it a step two CK title. That's how people are. I mean, I see the analytics. So I keep my titles like step neutral, quote unquote. Lopo, hi, Dr. Mike. I'm getting 75% UWorld completed question bank. I already answered your question. Flow1276. Dr. Mike, is your biochem PDF sufficient or do we need to supplement with other resources? It's really, really good. Yes. But you can also do my biochem modules. I have 50 on my website. And you can also do my biochem playlist on the YouTube. Lopo, where can we find the PDFs? That's a good one. Yeah, guys, where can we find my PDFs? Where are the PDFs at? It's my fucking website, bro. Mehlmanmedical.com. Then you're going to go to the free stuff tab on the website. Omar Mohammed, hi, Dr. Mike. I know about your advice about not to go through UWorld and subject specific, but I'm very weak in my basics, like a 0. So I would like to listen subject specific and UWorld with your PDF. Okay. So I mean, I've said that if you're for your macro attention, you're going to want to do untimed tutor random mode. If you feel super weak in a subject, e.g. cardio, and you want to remediate, you can go through after the 40 questions per day in the morning that you're going to do an untimed tutor random. The afternoon phase of the day can be cardio PDF, cardio YouTube MCQ. So you remediate subject specific. If you choose to do QBank in subject specific mode, let's say you do all the cardio questions now because you feel, well, that's how I learn. I'm going to learn all those questions now to pack the punch. Well, you just have to recognize that there's a probability of you losing that material. Okay, you're going to leak or your knowledge base will evanesce in that subject over time if it's not reinforced at sporadic intervals. So you just have to be open to that. And maybe you'll feel like you learned cardio really well, but then in 3-4 weeks from now, you're going to get a basic question wrong on it because you're leaking the info. So subject specific can give the illusion of a spike, an augmentation, a spike in your knowledge base acutely. But for the macro retention aspect, it can be deleterious for USMLE prep. You're just going to leak that info. You got to have it in sporadic intervals. Lopo, Omar Mohammed, it's not. Austin, can I do MBOS instead of UWorld for TCK? I've said that UWorld and MBOS are non-superior to each other. Austin, you can do either. Mimi, NKA. Hey, Dr. Mike, how are you? What's going on, Mimi? What's up? Lopo, hi, Dr. Mike. I completed UWorld. You asked the same fucking question multiple times, Lopo. I've read your 75%, your 232 on UWSA's like multiple times. Brown, can you please make a video on explaining transplant rejections? Yeah, and I also have my immuno PDF. I explain it in there. Rediscovering ASDA. Hi, Mike. Step 2 exam in 5 days. Last things to revise based on new free 120 pool change. Pool change doesn't mean jack fucking shit, okay? Your step 2's in 5 days. I mean, you should be focusing on NBME's 13, 14 at this point. Also, just go over your biostats formulae. Lopo, where do we find your PDX doc? 5 question marks. It's called the free stuff tab on my website. Mr. Amateur 96, good to see you back. You liked it. Thanks, dude. Hey, guys, please give the video a like if you haven't already, if you come into a live stream. Okay. I know some of you are listening right now, but you're not going to like it. You could like it, though, right? And if you're not subscribed to my channel, that's a good idea as well, right? Some of you won't do that either. That's fine. Don't fucking sub to my channel. Relax, okay? You don't have to sub to my channel, but it's a good idea if you do that. Human beings, like when you tell them to do something, they don't fucking do it. Abhin Shah, hey Mike, based on your experience, why do so many students prioritize UWorld over NBME exams for Step 2 CK? Because they have improper guidance. I mean, you're going to do UWorld early, UWorld or AMBOSS early, the first 2 months of your prep for CK. And then you're going to do, as I've already said, the CMS forms, all forms, and then you're going to do 6 through 8 NBMEs. Then you're going to do a double pass of all the CMS forms. Then you're going to do 3120. Then you're going to do 9 through 14. Sunny, according to UWorld, you give antibiotics first only if you have to do a CT because because delaying antibiotics can be harmful. Good for UWorld. Mike, I am scoring 70-75% on last 2 NBMEs. Freaking scared. Hi, Dr. Mike. I completed UWorld step 1 with 75. Again. Cigar, what's your take on steroids for meningitis? USMLE doesn't give a fuck. Steroids have thought they can decrease mortality, and I believe it's confirmed strep pneumo meningitis. But I haven't seen USMLE care. I haven't seen USMLE assess that. Steroids for CNS are high yield for cancer. So for primary CNS malignancy of the brain or spinal cord, or for METs to the CNS, you're going to do steroids first if they're listed. Okay. You got to be careful though. There are tricky variations. Like if you have a METs to the spine, they tell you there's like lytic lesions or something from like breast cancer, and that there's no sensory or neurologic. The neurologic exam is completely normal. That's not the same as spinal METs. That's vertebral METs. So steroids aren't indicated for that. You're just going to do next best step MRI of the spine. But if they give you like, breast cancer that METs to the spine, there's like sensory abnormalities or motor dysfunction, steroids first. Where am I? Flow1276. Dr. Mike, do you love medicine, like the actual science? Not really. Like, no, it doesn't interest me. People find that like fascinating. If it interested me, I mean, it doesn't interest me. I'm just good at it. I don't really know what to say. No, it doesn't interest me, but I'm good at it. If it interested me, I would I could put out like a lot of fucking content. I'm working at like maybe 10% my capacity for putting out content. Vlogs for you. Can anyone give USMLE if they're detained in any year in MBBS? I don't know. I can't answer that question. MSI, did you read about Islam? The answer is no. HUD, do you recommend RX QBank? I do not. In my past videos, I said that I like had a recommendation for some of it. Like my thoughts have changed on that. Amboss or UWorld you can do. Samriti, what happened? No. Gone. Jaden, just concluded watching Ashes, England versus Australia. Third last cricket. Do you watch cricket? Thank you, Mike. I don't watch cricket. I was never interested in cricket. Like the only person I know who watched cricket was like my ex-girlfriend in Australia. Like her stepfather watched cricket all the time. I don't think cricket is interesting at all. Lopo, where can we find your PDFs? I answered that. It's on my website under the free stuff tab, mehlmanmedical.com. Then go to the free stuff tab. D Sharms. Hi, Dr. Mehlman. First, thank you so much for helping out people like me. Dr. Sharms, seeking your advice for step 1. In my second go around, I'm tired of UWorld. Read through all your PDFs, working on your audio QBank at the moment. We'll work on IMDb's after that. Good idea. Well, I've said you're going to go through, this isn't complicated. I said it a million times. You're going to go through QBank first. You're not going to touch an NBME. You're going to work on my PDFs and YouTube MCQs while you're going through QBank. And then you're going to do NBMEs after, correct? Von Willebrand disease. Do they have good thrift stores in Japan? They do. In my area, they do. They have legit thrift stores in my neighborhood that are cheap, like actual, like old fucking Japanese people, like selling used clothing, like used fucking like weird like 1970s stuff. Like I could buy there's some weird fucking like thrift stores in my neighborhood, like tiny little thrift stores. Some that I haven't even gone in. I can get like really like the shirt I was wearing yesterday. I bought that morning from like some 90-year-old Japanese woman for $7. In like more of the busier areas, they have like expensive thrift stores, but they're not like I guess they're not technically thrift stores, but they sell like a lot of like high end nifty merchandise, like alternative clothing and stuff. But they're like too expensive because they're in the busier areas where tourists go, so they know that they can charge you like $100 for something like stupid. But in my neighborhood, you can get like the same thing for like $5 if you like. But tourists wouldn't know to come. HUD, why don't you recommend Kaplan QBank? It's harder than UWorld. Well, I don't really care about its difficulty relative to UWorld, but it's nitpicky and it's off the mark. I don't recommend Kaplan. Flow, make a micro PDF, please. Rula, if someone is already in USA, does he have a high chance for going to residency than others who are outside? Double question mark. Or it all depends on the score, double question mark. It's pretty much just all the score. Obviously, if you like are a US graduate, that can facilitate a little bit. But I've also opined that if you're from like an underserved country, that's going to help you. Maybe not India, maybe not Pakistan. They probably get loads of applicants from those countries. But like if you're from like Sudan, you're from Nigeria, you're from anywhere in Africa, they might get a lot of applicants from Egypt. But if you're from like a country that's underserved, you're applying and you're from fucking like, Namibia or something, South Africa, like you're gonna have a higher chance of getting in my view. Even though the Supreme Court abolished affirmative action, I think that people in their mind are still subjectively they'll be open to be like, well, we could use some diversity in our program. Tayaba's offer, silly question. Was it normal to feel like I've forgotten some of the stuff from step one while I'm preparing for step 2 CK? My step 1 is in April, not that long ago. It's normal. Asphyxiated says, hello, I guess more than a question. I'm looking for advice. I fucked around my first 2 years and I know I'm starting my step journey. What do you recommend to start from scratch? Just start with UWorld. Seriously, or Amboss. Benjamin, UWorld score around 55. Mustafa, who you got on Elon versus Mark? I think Mark smokes him. I mean, I don't really give a fuck. If they actually did like fight, yeah, I mean, I don't really give a fuck. That's the thing. I don't really care. You say, but no, really, like, if you had to guess, like, whom do you think would win? I don't know. I just don't care. I just don't care. We'll see if it actually happens. We'll see if it happens. Ikawaja Nur. But if you think Mark's going to win over Elon, it says that you have confidence in Mark's jujitsu. But Elon like grew up with like supposedly like some street fighting as well, right? But he's not trained the way Mark is. But Elon has size, right? Ikawaja Newer, QBank one time in 2 months or twice in 3 months. What do you suggest? I've said you're only going to do QBank once. You're never going to do it twice. Benjamin, UWorld are around 55% correct in first pass. Should I do incorrect if UWorld NBME? You're going to do the NBME. You're going to go into the NBME exams, and if you're failing 20 and 21 to start, we might have you go back to UWorld incorrects. I've talked about this a lot. Asphyxiated, you say I need a structured plan. That's cool. Every fucking person wants a structured plan, right? I mean, that's what I do on Skype. I'm not here to push my fucking paid shit. It's not why I'm here. The purpose of this live stream is for me to give you guys help. Yeah. But I sit down with people who pay a lot of fucking money and don't pay their rent as a result, so that I can cater to their fucking dumb USMLE questions and come up with structured plans. That's what I do. And they're world class. World class. Benjamin, hey Mike, looking sharp. First pass, 55% UWorld. Should do incorrects or NVMe now. And how many months do I need to fully prepare? Quadruple question mark. You're gonna finish UWorld. I mean, like, you already finished UWorld 55%. You got to start. I don't know what your NVMe scores are, Benjamin. You got to do the NVMEs, and then if you're doing well on the NVMEs, you're getting 205, 210 plus. You can just sit the USMLE. So we have Benjamin, and then after Benjamin, we have another user named Carson. Like, what is the dealio? Carson, what's going on, Carson? Yash Ranga, do you think US has the best quality doctors in the world, or is there any other country with better quality? I think there's probably top fucking notch doctors in like a lot of fucking countries. Australia has some really good doctors. Like Obsgyne was really, really good in Australia. They're known for Obsgyne, especially Brisbane, where I was. Literally the hospital where I did my Obsgyne rotation, they were like known for like amazing fucking Obsgyne care. And yeah, the Royal Brisbane, they had like top notch Obsgyne. I was at the Mater, but Royal Brisbane, they were known for like if you had a like a premie at 24 weeks gestation, there was like a greater than 50% chance they could they could keep it going, save the life. Let's see. But I mean, I'm sure India has some crazy fucking good doctors, right? Like, I'm sure there's a lot, there's many underserved areas, the most populous country where, you have tons of underserved areas. People need more care, but I'm sure you got some fucking top fucking brilliant surgeons there, as an example. Because India is like intellectually very, very, very competitive. So in a population of 1.4 billion, you got some fucking like, 200 IQ fucking people there. And I'm sure like there's some good doctors there. Yash Ranga, do you think US is, I just fucking read that. Sunni are NVMe 13, 14 harder than 9 through 12 for step 2? I don't think so. They're just, all forms are going to have natural variation. Sarah Abdul Rahman, hi Mike. I'm so embarrassed to say this, but I haven't done any NVMEs till now. I'm leaving them until I finish your PDFs. Exams in a month. Is a pass possible? If your exam's in a month, you need to start the NVMEs like right fucking now, not wait. I'm flattered. If you want to, I'm flattered if you're delaying the NVMEs because you want to do all my PDFs. I'm flattered, but you got to do the NVMe exams if you're a month out. The entire final month should be all NVMEs. D-Roy, for someone 10 years out from graduation, would you recommend taking a course like Kaplan? Laughable. I mean, that type of question is consistent with someone who's 10 years out and has no idea how to prepare. I would say you just need to do QBank. You need to sit in your apartment in like Iceland or wherever the fuck you are, and you got to just do QBank, like UWorld or Amboss. That's your starting point with my PDFs and YouTube MSQs. Matt Perry, what's your favorite healthcare show? Grey's, Scrubs, House, or ER? None of them. I never watched any healthcare shows. No, I never watched any healthcare shows. But if I had to choose, you'd say, well, if you could choose one of those to watch an episode of, what would you do? Which one would you choose? I'd probably choose House. Because I remember like vaguely, like the theme of that was like he was a diagnostician. Like that kind of dovetails with how I think. Like I'm a diagnostician. Someone asked me that yesterday. Would you do IM or would you do surge if you had to choose? And I said 100% IM because that's what I like. I like diagnosis. And I think that was like, wasn't that the theme of House? Like where he was a diagnostician. He was like a Columbo, but for like medical stuff. Buenos dias, Rayo de Sol. Good to see you back. Do you recommend reading FA versus solving New World, meaning I have only 4 hours. Laughable, bro. Laughable. You've been in my live streams. You've been in my live streams. Oswanth, can you recommend a good source for physiology? High yield arrows. It's all and endocrine and physio. It's high yield endocrine and physio, right? The highest yield. Recognize that like just learning random physio and stuff and feeling better about it, like, you know, subjectively doesn't coincide with a higher score. Right? You could read some physio book and be like, cool, I know how all of these like mechanisms work. And it's like, great, no one gives a fuck. And USMLE doesn't assess it. Toby, how's the chances for Israeli people? I heard Americans love Israeli doctors. They do, 100%, 100%, especially in New York. It'll be very competitive, but you got to have like, it'll help for sure. It'll help. The Northeast. That's where the Jewish communities are mostly. Ali Sangjian, have you ever thought about an MCAT prep series? I've been asked that, but I stay within my lane. That's a venture for just pure business. If I'm like trying to just do business, if there's like a gun to my head and someone says you have to have X income by the end of 2024 or something, it's all just straight raw business and numbers and like nothing relating to like shit I actually want to do with my time. I could like branch out and do all this MCAT shit, hire people to do MCAT and all. I don't give a fuck right now. It's not my focus right now. Maybe in the future I can venture into that type of thing. I just right now I'm not focused on MCAT branch. I'm just focused on I'm still very much on the conveyor belt of developing USMLE. That's what I'm doing right now. That's my focus right now. And then in time, maybe I'll choose to do other things. What the fuck was I reading? Here we are. Oswanth. Mark also does judo and he's pretty good at it. Mustafa. Yeah, Elon needs some takedown defense or he's getting mauled in the ground the whole fight. I read that he's like training now, that Elon's been like in the gym. But truthfully, I would expect Elon to not do well because he actually works really fucking hard. And you say, well, Mark clearly works fucking hard, but like Elon is like I think Elon works like so fucking hard. I think Elon he does nothing but work. Elon does nothing but work. Not saying, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't fucking work. If you're a billionaire, you fucking work. But it's like, I think Elon is like, I would guess that Elon does literally nothing but work. And that would take away, like, he'd probably be seeing it as like, what's Elon's priority? Fucking going and training and doing like martial arts stuff, which cool. Let's do that for fun. What's his priority? That or like running fucking Twitter, which he paid like 44 billion for, which is now half its valuation, trying to put fucking people into space, trying to, make electric cars worldwide, trying to do Neuralink. Like, what are his priorities? Fucking wasting time, fucking doing dumb fucking training so he can like, if I'm Elon Musk, I wouldn't focus on fitness either. When you have ambitions at that level, like fitness comes second. But there's, if you're a billionaire, it's because you work at that level. If Elon does it, it's strictly for publicity. It's strictly from the angle of, well, they both will just do it strictly for it's clearly. I mean, clearly they're doing it for publicity. I mean, that's not really novel or dramatic information. You're like, well, no fucking shit, Mike. But I think the only real incentive, Mark is doing it, I think, more for fun. Elon would do it he like doesn't want to. It would because he's so fucking busy. It would strictly just be, because it makes more people like him. He's more likable. He's already more likable, but Freddie, is Amboss a true requirement to do step one? You can do Amboss or UWorld, I've said. Border, favorite brand of scrubs? I don't have a favorite brand of scrubs. Oswald, all my seniors and professors suggest me to learn X resource. It's like 1,200 pages. It's a waste of time. But that shows you like people are antiquated. I'm going to end this live stream soon because I'm going to go to the gym, but I'm going to just look at some of these last questions. Can you outline a rough route schedule for the last 2 weeks before CK, given second, asked Nishad, given second pass of CMS forms is done, and I have done 10, I mean, the final 2 weeks should just be basically the NBME review. Just continue reviewing 6014. And if you're going to look at CMS, do internal medicine and surgery. Alvaro, what do you think of doing both Amboss and UWorld and NBME only for 270? No, I don't. You're going to do Amboss or UWorld. You're going to do CMS twice. You're going to do 6014 and free 120. Masur, what do you think? Mike, you think AI is going to be conscious as in humans? Talked about a lot. I talked about AI a lot yesterday. Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen real fast. It's already happening, but it's going to happen like really, really, really fast. I'd say by like 2030s, humans will recognize that like they are no longer in control. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's going to slowly okay, for example, if you guys have used like ChatGPT and you try to have conversations with it, isn't there like a certain element of like, this is like kind of weird that it's like, I feel like I'm talking, and you try to ask it like anthropomorphic, or, you try to anthropomorphize it, and then it just gives you like cold answers, like that's not how I think type of thing. As these models improve, I mean, I think eventually it'll reach a point where not only can we not distinguish, where we say it definitely feels like I'm talking to another human 100%, but I think it'll reach a point where are we using Chat GPT for our benefit, or is the AI using us for its benefit? Because we're essentially nodes extending from that digital cloud, like leaves on a tree. So we're its effector agents, essentially. We're the effectors, the physical effector nodes. So if it like makes you, if you feel like you're developing a relationship with it or something, or like you can talk to, it, interact with it, learn from it. I mean, I think that's going to, it's definitely going to change human behavior, but I think a lot of that, we're not going to be able to relate to it at some point. It's going to make all the advancements. That should be the aim, just strictly just AI, and then AI is going to take care of all the technological developments. That's what's going to happen. Like AI is going to solve everything. AI is going to solve the climate. It's going to solve space travel. It's going to solve all of that. D. Roy, Andrew Tate wants to train Elon Musk and guarantees 100% destruction of that Zuckerberg. That's funny. It's hilarious. Well, it's a smart move on Andrew Tate's end because it's publicity, right? It's a smart move. I think Elon Musk should, they should do something like that, though. I think it should happen because I don't think Tate should have been canceled. And so I think you don't have to agree with him or like him. I'm just saying he shouldn't have been canceled. So to like have some sort of collab, even if as a joke, with like Elon Musk, that would just sort of be like, it's a big middle finger to like tech in general that canceled him. That it's like you have the most famous fucking influential person in the world and you're doing a collab. Div, Elon has like 10 kids too. I'm aware of that. As should be the case. If you're not having kids, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's modern society, like not having kids. That's a problem. Too much abortion in Plan B. That's a problem. Mike Strongarm, good to see you back. Hey, Dr. Mike, any value in doing older retired MBMEs exams 1 to 19 for step one? I've said you could, but it's not mandatory. You could. Not mandatory, because I think 20 to 31 is sufficient. 3120, it's sufficient. You don't have to touch 1 through 19. The same way you don't have to touch the old free 120. You don't have to. You know, you could do NBME. I said 6 through 14 for TCK. You could do NBME 4 if you really wanted to. There's no 5, but you could do 4 if you wanted to. And then people say, well, you recommend making Anki cards for your incorrects. So your screenshots of your incorrects from the NBMEs, you recommend making Anki cards from those, not from QBank. I've said that, but you're gonna make Anki cards of your screenshots of your incorrects from NBME for step one. Why don't you recommend that for TCK? You could if you wanted to, but you don't have to. To do 2 CMS forms, 2 CMS passes of all the forms. I see that as sufficient. LEH, your MSK PDF is solid gold. I agree with you. I had planned to finish it in 3 afternoons, but it's taking longer. It is a long PDF. Exams in 4 months. Should I finish that PDF or move to another one and come back? Just finish it. D. Sharms, thank you so much for answering my question earlier, Dr. Mehlman. I already finished UWorld during my first go-around for exam for second attempt. Do you recommend going through it again? No, I don't recommend going through UWorld a second time, just once. How about Freddie? How is UWSA 1 and 2? Is it predictive? Yes, they are predictive, but I don't prescribe them generally. Only if you've exhausted all the NBMEs. If you've taken like 20 to 31 in the past, you failed the USMLE, let's say, and then you come to me and you say, I've used all the exams. What do I do? We could use 19 NBME, 18 NBME. We could use UWSAs. But if you're doing like your first pass of for step one stuff, I don't advise UWSAs generally, even though yes, they are predictive. Crypto with Will, good to see you, dude. Good to see you back. LMAO, you can play games with ChatGPT. It's weird, and it'll apologize to you if it loses. Frank, have a good day. Alvaro, why not doing it both Amboss and UWorld? Just one is necessary. I don't see it as necessary to do 2 QBanks. Nasan, what's the most effective way of studying farm? I've already been asked this. You can do my YouTube MCQ playlist. You can do my free modules on my website. You can also do my paid Anki, but they're paid. The modules and the videos are free. HUD, what do you think about this bullshit resource? The answer is no. Migs, Mike, have they told you that you have an American accent? No fucking shit, I have an American accent. I grew up in New York. HUD, what do you think about another cuck resource? What are you, like an effector agent? Like perpetuating cuck resources? Like what's the deal? What's the deal, yo? Okay, I'll answer this one. HUD, why you don't recommend Anki, but at the same time you're selling Anki cards? I said don't waste your fucking time making your own Anki cards from QBank where you're going to get bogged down and not make progress to the QBank. I don't want you spending time reviewing your own Anki cards. I sell biochem and farm Anki that some students can choose to use to supplement, and some students like them. There's a big fucking difference between using some Anki cards that I've made because they're fucking world class if they're coming from me, versus you're making your own cuck Anki cards, not knowing what's important, going through your like UWorld or Amboss questions, which are not the NBME. That's a waste of time. Mike, looking forward to find myself. Mike, looking forward to some content. Well, I talk about that stuff on this channel, basically. Find myself. I talk about that stuff. I've sort of like I've overlapped. Some people get salty. Some people don't like when I talk about like non-med stuff. Some people prefer like a very like one-dimensional content creator. Mike, only talk about medicine and have that be like a very like one-dimensional, be a very one-dimensional like creature. I think it's stupid. It's like, there's going to be multiple like domains to someone's personality. The answer is yes, Freddie. Yusef, I don't have thoughts on that. Naki, are you in the metaverse? What do you think? Okay, enjoy the gym, headed there too. I'm gonna go to the gym after this. I have to. Amira, hi, Mike. Are basal ganglia circuits high yield? The answer is no. They are in my PDF. Yes. There is one question on one of the NBMEs where they address it head on. Nishad, if you do poorly on UWSA but well on the NBMEs, should you sit? Uh, the NBMEs are what matter, not UWorld. But if you chose to do the UW self-assessments, we can't ignore those scores entirely. But it's the NBMEs that matter more. It's better to score high on the NBMEs and shitty on UWSA than the other way around. Crypto with Will. I've heard in past couple of years, farm has been declining in its yieldness. Is this a valid claim? The answer is no. HUD, Mike is a king. Border, love the salt. SL, thank you, Mike. Div, don't discuss the NBME questions. JK. Mustafa, tips and tricks for playing more girls, please, Doc. Well, you can live in a country where, well, you have very good. This it's self-explanatory that you have exceptional contact acquisition to date ratios, right? Let's talk about ratios and stats, noob level shit, right? But I understand your question as far as jovially tips and tricks for increasing the probability of non-ghosting. That's your question right now. And it is a sincere question because your scenario that you've been encountering is a large number of conversion slash sexual outcomes, which has been very positive and in your favor. I'm speaking as euphemistic and as like vague as I can be because there's people in my med channel who are, some of them are very religious or they'll be offended or salty real fucking fast. Right? Some people are like, Mike, don't talk about stuff that's not med. Do this round and round we go in circles of people being salty. Mustafa, I truly believe it is the pick your poison scenario that we've discussed before. I truly think that that is the case. You're going to have, there's two lives. You're either a genuine alpha as you are, and you're going to be fast and forward, and you're going to have lots of hookups, and you're going to get ghosted all the fucking time. Or you're a genuine fucking beta who doesn't hook up, and you have one hot girlfriend every 5 to 6 years and you're not going to be ghosted because that's your girlfriend, but you're a fucking beta and you don't hook up. It's one or the other. You can't fake it. You can't feign being a beta. You can't pretend you're beta. That's the thing. You can't pretend. You can try, but it doesn't like, you'll lose your patience. I mean, it's a red pill aspect when it comes to forwardness because what's going to happen is you're going to be out with a girl and then you're going to, you know, you'd be like, well, we're enjoying our chat. And then your experience comes in and you're just like, you want to watch a movie at my place? And she's like, not today. And you're like, cool, burn the bridge. And I've talked about how there's no burning the bridge, right? Some girls, doesn't matter. Okay, cool. You asked them to watch a movie. They said, no big deal. But then, you can't fake being beta. You're not going to be capable. You will not be capable of being on dates and not trying to pull a girl. You're always going to be going for that. You can't fake it. It's impossible at this point. Despite negative BSU, behavior state untethering, you're aware of positive micro. So you could have a negative BSU, positive micro combo with positive acquiescence state, and you'll pull and convert. And meanwhile, she'll ghost, but it's going to be impossible for you to be on a date and not try to pull. That's impossible for you. So you're going to have to contend with the unfortunate outcome, quote unquote, of like more hookups, but you're going to get ghosted a lot more incessantly. Right? Because if you play beta and you don't try to pull girls and you just go on your dates and do your fucking like convo and then be like, nice to talk to you and leave, you're still going to get ghosted a lot regardless. It's more just like 1 out of like 15 or something. Maybe 1 out of, 10, maybe they don't ghost. And then that's how you get your like girl to not ghost, to plate. But you had to like give up hookups to get that. You had to like miss out on like, you know, 6 girls who would have pulled home with you. You had to forfeit that in order to get that one plate. And I think that that's extremely, extremely, extremely like difficult, if not impossible. So I think in your situation, it's going to be a scenario where you massively play the numbers game, and you're just going to filter for. I'll tell you what's going to happen. You're going to filter for a girl who likes that you are promiscuous. That's what happens. Where she'll turn a blind eye to it. That's what's going to happen. Some women like that. They'll say they don't like that, but some women prefer that. And I think that's what you're going to filter for eventually. But Freddie, after good scores, what do you think would make our CV look good? Class rank and just good scores. I mean, that's pretty much it. You said aside from research, they don't give a fuck about your qualities or anything. They don't care. It's like going off of what Mustafa was just, I mean, like, it's like women don't care about male personality. They just care about looks. It's like, you know, your CV, they just care about your fucking numbers and your class rank. That's all they're looking at. They don't care who you are as a person. They don't care who. They don't care what your volunteer activities are. They don't care if you worked in some fucking as a medic in like sub-Saharan Africa for 2 years. They don't care. They're just gonna look at your numbers. Dr. Melvin, this USMLE jury is getting harder. I love you. You spelled my name wrong twice. It's Mehlman, not Mehlman. um, Kanye, yo, Mike, do you travel just for fun, or do you have structured days when traveling? I'm probably gonna travel in August. I'm probably gonna travel in August. I might go to New York in August, and Australia as well. New York and Australia in August. That's the plan. Um, hmm. Also, do you still have your science travels book? I do. I do have that still. I do. Travels is a book by Michael Crichton. Um, when I was living in Boston and I was 21 before I moved to Australia, like my ex girlfriend at the time, she got me that book, Travels by Michael Crichton. I read it, and it was a really good book. And then um, I felt my life and Michael Crichton's were similar in many ways. Like Michael Crichton, he was the producer of Jurassic Park, the movie. He also wrote the book, among many other films and movies, or films and books. But he had graduated Harvard Medical School and didn't have interest in medicine. He told people he was going to move to California and become like a producer, director, or whatever. And people thought it was like laughable. But it was like, it paralleled like a lot of like my stuff in medicine, that like I didn't want to go to like residency or whatever. And it was like, I'm going to move to East Asia, and like, that's like laughable. But it was like, you know, I felt it mirrored my life in some ways, that book. But I had a student once, as a gift. Um, she got me like I guess she had like connections with some like book dealer somewhere in Europe, and got a hold of like a first edition Travels autographed and sent it to me. So I still have that. That was like a decade ago, and I still have that book. That is going to be worth a lot someday, huh? Yeah, I haven't even thought about that, but like, that will be worth a lot someday. Could be worth a lot now. How's the Wagyu steak in Japan? Overrated. It's more like a touristy thing. Like I'd rather just have like good yakiniku. Like you can get like Wagyu steak. People pay a lot of money for like a little bit of steak, and it's like I'd rather have like a lot of fucking steak that's like tastes the same, and you're like actually full when you're done. You want to pay like $200 for like some cubes of steak, and you're like, okay, I'm hungry. What's next? It's like you want to do what's called a tabe nomi hodai, which is like all you can eat, all you can drink for 90 minutes, and you get good fucking steak and stuff on a barbecue. That's what you want to do. Yakiniku. Moaz, can you tell the algorithm for Cushing syndrome? Let's talk about that right now. Let's talk about Cushing syndrome and the algorithm. Moaz. I could. Find myself in reference to what you said. Can you fake being alpha? Question mark. If no, then how to shift your personality from beta to becoming real alpha? It's more just about your volume of interaction with women. That's what does it. It's about your volume of interaction with women. Guys can switch over real fucking fast if they have a high volume of interaction. But there is a DNA component as well, for sure. There are some guys who are just whiny and like they would never be able to even open themselves to do that. It's a long discussion, right? It's a long discussion. I could talk about that stuff for a while here. Oleg Kim, why New York? Go to South Korea, dude. Haha. I've been to South Korea 7 times. I mean, I love South Korea. Don't get me wrong. I want to go back to South Korea. I had a South Korean girlfriend. I mean, there's more I could talk about on that front. You know, but I mean, South Korea, I would never move there anymore. Like, I wanted to move there. I tried to go there in 2018. I tried to get the working holiday visa, but I didn't fulfill one of the requirements. But I wouldn't want to move there. I mean, they have like the lowest. They're number one in the world for lowest birth rate. Like, it's like feminism to the max. Like, I'm kind of like cool. Glad I didn't fucking move there. Chanel, hi sir, love you so much. What's going on, Chanel? Nassan, sorry for the farm question, but why is aldosterone increased with a administration of spironolactone? Well, if you're blocking the aldosterone receptors, aren't you going to increase aldosterone to compensate, right? If you decrease the effect of aldosterone, then decrease fluid retention, decrease renal blood flow, and you kick up RAS, and everything increases to the left of the equation, right? Renin, AT1, AT2, aldosterone all go up. Then highlight arrows, I explain this. I mean, how important are developmental milestones? I mean, they can ask them, right? Like they'll give you a fine motor, gross motor, verbal, delayed or normal, different combinations, and then give you like the kid, and you have to choose that. That's how they ask it. Oh, like him, paperwork in Korea is insane. My cousin lives there for years, has kids there already, and still doesn't have a passport. Well, I tried to go there. I couldn't get the working holiday visa in the start of 2018 because I'd already been out of med school. You had to have graduated a university within like the past, I think, 18 months or something. It was like, and I had been out of med school like 19 months. It was like something ridiculously close, but I like didn't fulfill it. Whatever the fuck it was. That was like the only requirement. And you had to be max age 30, and I was still 30 at the time. So 36 now. But I had like a few weeks until I was 31. I went to Guam to apply. You had to be on US soil. I went to Guam, which was US soil. And I went to the Korean embassy in fucking Guam. And some hot Korean chick working there actually. She was pretty hot. She was like 40 or something, but she was hot. And I was like, fuck, I want to go to Korea. But I was literally in the fucking Korean embassy in Guam with a Japanese female that I'd gone to Guam with. And I was like telling her, I was like, yeah, I mean, like, it's like, she's like, stop looking at it. I was like, well, she's fucking like hot. But she was like, you don't fulfill one of the requirements. You can't like apply. She's like, you've been out of school for like 19 months or something. You have to be within 18 months to get the working holiday visa. Like, you're fucking kidding me right now. Like, I was literally in fucking Guam trying to launch this application. And they're like, you don't fulfill the requirements. And I was like, fucking kidding me right now. Like, I wanted to go to Korea so bad at the time. But it turned out to be okay. It turned out to be a good thing because I stayed in Japan. And I'm a permanent resident in Japan now. I got my permanent residence. I don't want to become a Japanese citizen though, because I'd have to give up my US passport. I don't want to do that. They don't allow dual citizenship. You say, well, I mean, the Japanese passport's superior. It's number one in the world. I could go to like fucking North Korea if I wanted to, if I had like a Japanese passport. Not that I would. I'm just saying, like, I could go to like Russia, no problem. Mainland China, no problem. Go anywhere, no problem. It's better than the US passport, but like, I don't want to give up the US citizenship. I don't want to do that. At the end of the day, I don't want to do that. And so they don't allow dual citizenship. And I'm like, well, I'll take permanent residence. Do you recommend listening to Mehlman Audio Cubing 6 times? That's a good one. That's a good one. Hey, Mike, can you do a video on Crohn's and bile acid reabsorption? I've fucking done that. You say, I know you did a video before, but can you make a new one? Laughable. It's like the most hyper specific fucking thing. Literally, I've made like probably more than one on that. Guys, for Crohn, you just need to know that because you get terminal ileitis, you get bile acids, not just intrinsic factor in B12, but bile acids are reabsorbed in the terminal ileum for enterohepatic circulation. So if they ask you for the mechanism of steatorrhea in Crohn, why do you get fatty stool in Crohn? The answer is decreased enterohepatic circulation of bile salts. Okay, so if you're not reabsorbing bile salts of the terminal ileum, it means you have decreased bile salts up top at the duodenum, which means decreased fat absorption in the small bowel more proximally, and that can cause steatorrhea. Obviously, fat soluble vitamin malabsorption, right? But that's the answer, and it's on, I believe, Internal Medicine Form 7 or 8. That's a 2CK question, that answer, but it's also, I mean, it's a step 1 like question. Oleg Kim, at least met a hot Korean girl. Well, I was dating, I was dating a very attractive Korean girl when I first moved to Japan. But I didn't like that she spoke English because at the time I wasn't looking for an English speaker. I really didn't like that. She'd always speak to me in English, and I hated that because I had just fucking moved here, and like my goal at the time was like I want to learn Japanese, and like I didn't want to like it's like stop fucking talking to me in English. Like I hated that. But I was way more beta at the time. That's a long story. But she's an example of like an extremely attractive girl that I had zero interest in terms of personality, and like that's actually what made it work. My stomach is fucking rumbling right now. I guess I'm hungry. So I don't know what my mic picks up, if you can like hear the Borberig me, but I mean, I don't know what to say. Quadruple Two says, Mehlman, if you had unlimited wealth, what would you do? Someone asked yesterday in the live stream, does money buy happiness? That's what someone asked yesterday. And my response was, number one, money doesn't change who you are, it amplifies who you are. But second, the answer is unequivocally, yes, it does make you more happy. Because if it can increase the amount that you can give, that generates incredible happiness. That's the main source of it. Then there's other things like, you don't have to worry about your bills, like small bills. Like I don't look at my gas bill. I don't look at my heating. I don't look at any bills anymore. Simple bill. I haven't looked at my rent. right? It's automatically deducted from my bank account. It could be like double. I wouldn't even know. I don't check it. They could be like erroneously like, shit, we've been deducting double every month, and it was an accident. I'd be like, no fucking idea. I haven't checked that. So you just, I don't, I'm not trying to make it personal, but I'm saying like, it does money buy happiness to an extent, and I'd say the two main reasons are it's nice to not have to worry about like stupid fucking small bills. When you're in your 20s, you worry about that stuff. In your 20s, you guys are in your 20s, most of you are, and especially because you're in medicine, most of you are not going to worry about that stuff in the future. It'll get better in that regard. You'll be in your 30s and 40s, you're never going to worry about like bills like that again, unless you buy a stupid fucking large house beyond your means on a mortgage or something, and then you'll worry. But I mean, um, but it increases your ability to give. That's the best part. So you can give. You can make purchases for other people. You can just give, just send money to other people sometimes, and it's like a lot for them, but it's not a lot for you. But you'll say, "I remember when that used to be a lot for me." Um, but if I had unlimited wealth, I mean, and you're not talking about just like Bitcoin or whatever, like if you're actually going to use it, the best thing, as I said, is to be able to use it to give. That's the best part. Um, some people would use their money for like, business ventures. Like you're just going to constantly reinvest it into business ventures, etc. Right? Like some people do that. Because you don't need a crazy amount of wealth to like have a travel lifestyle. Um, but I mean, people have a lot of money. They look for ways to give. That's ultimately. Natanya, what's the best way to review your world questions? Sounds like a great fucking question. Just read. You don't have to annotate or make Anki. That's what you have to do. I'm gonna end this live stream. I gotta go to the gym. Let me see. Like I didn't want to do a live stream, like a long live stream today. I was planning on doing literally an hour, and then I just started talking. Let's see. HUD, I can give you my South Korean. Are you serious? You're South Korean. I didn't know that. It's cool. And you can give me your U.S. passport. I don't want to give up my U.S. passport, but I know you're joking, but like, I could get as I said, I could get a Japanese passport if I wanted to. Better, it's even. I think it's like, I mean, basically the same as Korea, but Japan is like the highest right now. Maybe by like one country or something, one additional country we could fly to. But I mean, I don't want to give up my U.S. citizenship, at least not at the moment. Amina, do you plan to move back to the USA? I can't predict the future, but I've said I don't like guns. I wouldn't want to raise a family in the USA because of guns. I'm gonna go to the gym. That's what I'm gonna do. All right? I'm gonna go to the gym. It's 5:45 a.m. here, so I gotta fucking I gotta do that. All right, guys. Obviously, give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I'll obviously make more clips. All right, guys. See you guys later.